What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video. And if you want to leave a comment on Jay Williams' Let's Live Life, tell him I'm willing to send him one of these old nice Buffalo Bills hats that just came out. I'm just playing. But anyway, we got a good guest on today. Did some time in Colorado, man. He's from a neighborhood that's known for violence, and he's been through some things. He hung out with some of them. I don't want to say hang out, but we'll let him tell his story. But anyway, Perm, man, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's get into it, man.
Well, came up in Northern California a little bit until I was about 13. Criming. I can remember the Dickie shorts. Whenever you used to be able to they had Dickie shorts in Walmart. You could steal Dickie shorts. That was like my first hustle, right? I used to steal Dickie shorts. I'd bring them to the weed man. The essays would sit there, weed and whatever else, or I would steal like liquor bottles you get them at Safeway. Out in California, you get them at Safeway or just a regular store. You don't got to go to the liquor store. So I'd steal those, bring them to the weed man, bring them to the essays. That's how I started chilling. I could go hit a couple liquor bottles and I'd be smoking and have like $10 for whatever, some fast food or something, stupid shit candy. You know what I mean? Whenever you're a kid. So that's how I started. I did a little bit of time in juvenile hall out there. My mom wasn't happy about it. She sent me up to Portland to live with one of the big homies for a while she came out to Colorado and got her situation together. And then she sent for me, said, well, why don't you come back, to Colorado? So I came out here to Colorado and I jumped in feet first. I was ready to be a criminal. I was raised as a criminal. My father was a criminal. I idolized criminals. And so whenever I got here, I was from a smaller town in Northern California. Whenever I got here, it was just a big city, and it was like, and Denver's got money. There's money out here just floating in the air, you know what I mean? So it's not depressed like a lot of parts of the country, and it was right for a hustler to jump in feet first. So I did. I did a lot of time in jail out here as juvenile. Probably 2.5 years or something like that to the Gilliam Youth Center. I got my GED in the Gilliam. I got a couple years in Montview, Savio House. I went to Savio House, which was a group home. It was a huge group home. It's right in the middle of West Denver. It's over on 4th and King. It's a huge house. It's, the Lions Club people, they own it. They own this huge house, right? So I did some time in there. And then...
Let me stop you for a minute. Let's talk a little bit about California. You were in the Youth Authority in California, right?
I was not in Youth Authority. I was in Juvenile Hall.
Okay.
I went to Juvenile Hall.
So let me ask you this. You're growing up in California. What type of neighborhood do you live in?
It's a smaller city. I basically lived in the Redwoods. We lived in the Redwoods, wine country.
So
Mendocino County.
So was that a nice neighborhood?
It's very depressed as far as money is concerned. California is punishingly expensive, and it even was back then. So there's no chance to get ahead at all because the jobs don't pay anything. So that neighborhood is in like crime. I'm from a city called Ukiah, right? 20,000 people, not that big. As far as crime is concerned, no, it's not particularly dangerous or anything like that. The bikers got pretty much a lock on the situation. But lots of destitution, lots of desperation, and lots of drug use. I want to say that, and the things that come along with that.
I want to ask you about your parents. You said your father was a criminal. Was your father a biker? What type of criminal was he? Was he a petty criminal? Was he selling drugs? What was your father doing?
He was a wood. He ran with the woods in California. Nothing particularly impressive that I could say, oh, he did this or did it. No, I had a hell of a lot more dope than he ever did.
And your mother. Let's talk about your mom, because I want to talk about your upbringing and why people, young kids do the things that they do, and that's where we're going to go with this, right? But tell me about your mother. What was your mother like? Did she work? I mean, did she try to do the right thing?
She had her own issues with drug use and whatnot, but yeah, she worked. She worked sometimes even 2-3 jobs, stuff like that. She was always there. My mother was a hippie. She was a hippie. It was all love and peace and stuff. San Francisco.
You said your mom sent you to live with the big homie. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, one of my homies that he grew up across from me in the trailer park. And I just got really good with him, and he was older. You know what I mean? He looked out for me in the neighborhood whenever I was young. You know what I mean? He was like 20, but he seen that I was a hustler, that I was already hustle minded. I'm showing up with weed every day because I'm stealing stuff and bringing it to the weed man. You know what I mean? So the older gang members, they was like, you know what I mean? You need to be with us. You need to kick it with us. You know what I mean? And so hanging out with these fools, and whenever my mom decided to come out here, she was coming out here. She had split with her husband, the man that she was with at the time, and she told him, you need to get your act together. So basically what he did is he came out to Denver and got his act together, and then called for her, sent for her, you know what I mean? And then, but while they were trying to get settled, I wanted to go up there. And I kind of wanted to go up there. The homie he's living in the projects in Northeast Portland. It's cool as hell. He's running a tattoo shop out of the projects. And I'm like 13 years old. I wanted to go. You know what I mean? It was a free-for-all. It was cool. One of the coolest places I ever fucking chilled.
Understandable. Let's talk a little bit more now about Colorado, right? And we're going to get into what the message is in a minute. But you go to Colorado, what's your neighborhood like, man? You in a white neighborhood when you get there? Hispanic, black? What type of neighborhood?
Hispanic. It's all Hispanic. 80%.
So tell me what neighborhood you're from.
Westwood.
You're from Westwood. Okay. And you end up in a kids home there in Colorado, right? And what is that for? What do you go to the kids home for?
Oh, I like to rob houses. Whenever I was a kid, I hit a lot of houses. The homies were burglars. Let's see, I'm trying to think what I actually got arrested for. Decline that. Somebody's trying to call me real quick. There we go. A lot of burglaries, mostly burglaries. From whenever I was a kid, I'm thinking there was a stolen car. Yeah, not a lot of violence or anything like that. Mostly whenever I was a kid, if I can remember right, most of my commitments involved burglaries, house burglaries.
So as a young kid, right, who are the people that you look up to in your neighborhood?
Oh, the big homies. The big homies from the hood. Yeah, I got put on my hood. At what? Maybe 15. So within a couple years of getting here, I got put on my hood. So yeah, I mean the big homies.
When you talk about getting put on your hood, right? You're a young kid. Tell us what that means. I mean, are you getting involved in a gang in your neighborhood? Who are you running with? I mean, how does that work?
Well, so as a matter of fact, the same tattoo that I had gotten in Portland, right, is what happened, what started it all. A tattoo and a misunderstanding. So I'm on a bus, right, and I've been blazing. I got a whole sack of weed on me, and these two fools come back. They're all totaled out. It's like 95, right? And they sit on the back of the bus with me, and they're like, what's that say? What's that say on your arm? Does that say Big Jerk? Because it says Big Perm on my arm right there. It says it all huge. And we laughed because it was funny, Big Jerk. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, nah, don't say Big Jerk. And I told him it's Big Perm. And so we got to kicking it. He's like, hey, man, you got any bud? I said, yeah, I got some bud. He goes, well, I got a doobie. You want to match? I said, cool. Well, where I'm from, the doobie means a joint. Out here, a doobie means a roach. I wouldn't even have matched them if I'd have known all they had was a roach, you know what I mean? But they was like, nah, come over here. It's like, cool. So we went to their house, started kicking it. We've been good ever since. I just went to the homie's house the other day. I was out there chilling. It's still good to this day.
You know, it's ironic that they call you Big Perm and you ain't got no hair, bro. So tell us the meaning behind the Big Perm, bro.
No, I used to have an afro. I got like Puerto Rican hair. It looks like a Puerto Rican. So super. I'm Italian, Sicilian. So super nappy, right? Super nappy, super curly. And that's on my mom's side. My dad's side was like English, but that fool had super curly hair too. So I was done. You know what I mean? I got like a fro whenever I was a kid, but it started falling out. And then as soon as it started falling out here, I was like, oh no, and I dipped it, and then it turned out I got a really nice shaped head. So I just rolled with it. You can't argue with it, you know.
Who told you had a good shaped head? Yeah. I just played with you.
Look at that.
You got to smile to keep from crying sometimes. But let me ask you this, right? Do you think it's time to get a cover up, man, and change it from Big Perm to something else? Maybe Big Sherm?
Oh no, no. Everybody knows me. Everybody knows me. Everybody knows who I am. And I've been bald since like 25. It came off at 25. So.
I'm just messing with you, bro. But let's talk a little bit about, you get arrested in Colorado. You're going to Colorado State Prison now. There's 211 crew over there, pretty well known. There's some gangsters over there in Colorado. They got put on the map when all that stuff happened with that warden and superintendent got, murked and all of that stuff. But how old are you when you first go to prison, man? A man's prison. How old are you?
I got there the day of my 19th birthday.
Your 19th birthday, you're going into a men's prison. Are you nervous? Keep it 100.
Yes and no. I knew so many people that is kind of somewhat like a reunion. I can't say I wasn't nervous, but they brought me to the low side. They pulled up to the high side, pulled us all off, and then brought me over to the camp. So that's what we're talking about. I was in a camp. I would like to say that I was super scared, but I jumped right in the mix right away. I wasn't scared to jump all in the mix feet first and be a dummy. I got myself kicked out of the camp within like 60 days for an assault. So I wasn't that scared, I guess I would say. The other side of the yard, whenever I went to the high side, and these black people are built like houses, that's a different story. You know what I mean? You go over there and like, that's what really made me start working out is whenever I got to the high side and it was like, these people can end your life. And we don't do this in Colorado where you hide behind like your race or your gang. We don't do that. You got to fight. If a black dude calls you, you got to fight out here. I mean, heads up, one-on-one. You got to go in a cell with him. Unless it's ridiculous. If he's like 400 pounds and he's just clearly picking on somebody, well, then we could just all stab him, right? If you're just out of bounds, homie, just picking on somebody. But it's not like that in Colorado. The hand, or like in different states, you hear hands off, you know what I mean? Or let the car handle it. No, homie, you got to fight out here. I fought more black people than anything. Heads up, one-on-one.
So really, man, they're on man time there. Men respect men, and you got to handle your business.
You got to go one-on-one out here, homie. You got to go one-on-one. They don't kill a lot. The deaths do happen. Usually out here, if you die, it's because you really broke the rules. You really did something. They do kill people out here. Don't get me wrong. They take people's lives, absolutely. But I never really feared for my life because I follow the rules. I follow the structure, whatever, you know what I mean? You know what the structure is. And I go even a little bit farther. You don't have to ask me to go work out. I'm the one who holds down the weights. You're going to see me. The people who matter, you're going to see me doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And so no, I can't say that I was super scared, but what I was outfitted from my childhood to understand what I was stepping into, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Like some people conduct themselves like men. Prisons are different. When I was in New York State Prison in 1996 and 97, a lot of that was man time, man. You could have a problem with a Spanish dude, a black dude, and we were all young kids back then, and even the older dudes like, man, let them get it, and you got to fight, man. Only the strong survive, right? The strong win. But let's talk a little bit more about that prison system where you say, everybody's on man time. Are there times when there are riots, when cars clash? I mean, I don't know how it works in Colorado. You got to tell me.
Absolutely, yeah. There's some wars going on right now, quiet as it's kept. The Bloods and the GKIs are in I wouldn't call it a war. They're in a hostile positioning. Kind of like amorphizing around each other for dominance right now. But it's not an open, hot green light. It's kind of a pushing and prodding, if you will. There's wars going on. I've set off a riot. I've got engaging in a riot in 2006 in Arkansas Valley Correctional Facility. I set off a riot over there. It riots. I mean, the North and the South used to go. They used to go. Now, don't hold me to this because this is unconfirmed, but I now have this from 3 sources. I have it from one fool from my hood. I have it from one fool who is my tattoo artist, and I have it from one dude who's a white boy. They're telling me that the North and the South in the Colorado state prison system has linked up and that they are writing under the same thing, and it's just called Hempo. That's it. They're not even allowing, there's no beef, leave your gang shit on the street. We don't want to hear it. Now, I haven't witnessed this with my own eyes, but I've got 3 sources in the last month since I've been digging that have told me that.
I want to talk about this riot that you set off, right? Because, you know, sometimes we're going to have people on here who are going to make comments and say, come on, dude. So tell us what happened and how you set off a riot and who it involved.
We went into it with the G's. We had been beefing with each other for a while.
When you say, hold on, when you say we, tell us who you're talking about.
Prison gang, LPP, Los Primer Padres, is what it's called. So we have been kind of funking with the dudes for a while. It's same thing, not really a hot war, more of like sometimes, you know what I mean, a pot shot's taken here or there, somebody fights here or there, but it wasn't really a hot war, like an open war. And I don't know why, I don't know what happened, but I got there. Okay, I'll tell the story. Check this out. This from I'm only there in the prison for 90 days, so I'll just tell you my story, right? So I get there, and there's one of my homies completely on the other yard by himself, way away from me. We're basically on islands by ourselves. You can give dab, that's about it. And then there's this other fool there that's supposed to be one of my homies, right? And then I get there. So I get there, I hit the yard right away. I go jump out. I think I was out lifting some weights or something like that. And I see the dude who's supposed to be one of my homies. I'm like, hey, what's up? Da, da, da. And we get to talking. And these northerners come over and they like disrespect this fool right in front of me. They like talk to this fool crazy right in front of me. And I'm like, they're still sitting there. The northerners are sitting there. I said, hey, homie, you ain't gonna say nothing? He was like, what? I said, homie. He's like, oh, I know them fools. I was like, I don't care, homie. They're not gonna talk to you like that. What are you know what I mean? Well, the crowd kind of dispersed. It was kind of a crowd, and it kind of dispersed off. So then, like, the next day, I'm hitting the punch bag. I'm out there by myself. I'm hitting the punch bag. Northerner pushes up on me. He says, hey, homie, so what's the deal with this? I said, well, I think you seen the deal. Y'all was pushing up on the homie, and he's not standing up for himself, and I don't like that. That's not happening if I'm here. Or he could leave. You know what I mean? My boy can leave. The dude who's supposed to be on my team, he can leave. And they were like, well, you're not tripping on UTA, right? It's a northerner gang. I said, no, I'm not tripping. I got no problem with UTA. They're cool with me. Never had a problem with them. And they're cool. They're cool with me. I'm cool with them. They got a problem with him is what they have a problem with. They have a problem with my homeboy. It's not me. They have a problem with him. But I stepped into the situation, like I said, feet first. So, okay. So this kind of flushes away, but there's a bad taste in everybody's mouth. You can feel it, right? Because I'm still putting pressure on this fool who's supposed to be my homeboy. I'm on this fool's neck because I'm not putting up with no pussy shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know why it happened. I never got an exact reason as to why it happened. But 2 of the 3 of the homeboys started showing up on the yards. Now there's like 8 of us. We're starting to get little numbers. And one of them calls out my homeboy. I can't remember his name right now. I should know his name. But they called him out. He was in a pod by himself. He went in, Leo, that's his name, little Leo, little tiny dude. He's a little tiny dude. They called him out for the heads. He went in there and banged with dude, and they bashed him out bad. They jumped him and bashed him out bad, right? So word gets back to me that night, right? They got this one. So these dudes already know me. They know how I am. I'm not going to let this go. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So now it's just a matter of when I see the first one, I go. And that's what I did. I go, I don't see anybody that night. I go to the chow hall the next day. Come in. The chow hall is elevated. The cops are above you. They're on like maybe 3-4 feet above you, something like that. So I go through the thing, get my tray, come back around. And I'm looking like I got my head down like if I'm scared or something. I'm basically in the chow hall by myself. There's like 5 or 6 of these fools. And it's just me by myself. You know what I mean? And so I walked up to their table and I hit that fool. Boom. Dude didn't get up. And I threw the tray, dog. Hit him in the face, dog. And I came across the thing and swung on dude. And it was on and cracking. We popped off in there. And then from there, somebody knew something was going on outside. I don't know exactly how. Like somebody seen the cops running or something. So one of my homies ran over to the window and looked into the window. And then he looked over, and the GKI fool's there too, and the GKI hit him in the mouth, and then they start going, and then everybody starts going. So maybe 12 of them, and all of us left the yard that day.
Let me ask you this. You're a white dude, right?
Yeah.
You're running in a predominantly Hispanic gang, right?
Yeah.
Is that because of the neighborhood that you're from?
I have no illusions. Like if I was to go to the feds, where I would land. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. So if you went to the feds,
my little street gang.
Hold on. If you went to the feds, where would you land?
I'd be a white boy. I don't have a choice. They're gonna be like, you white. You know what I mean? They're not gonna care about my little street gang. There's like 50 of us. They don't, on the grand scheme of things, they ain't hearing that shit. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid. I'm gonna fall in line where it's appropriate. I follow the rules. Like I said, I follow the rules. Okay? So when I got here, I was in the county with my co-defendant, which is one of the big homies. So I already had the whole rundown of prison. I knew that I could get there and that I was going to have people and that the whites really weren't going to push on me. And the reason why is because I'm not fraudulent, because I'm from the neighborhoods. I did juvenile time with all these Mexican gangbangers. They all know me by name. So the white dudes didn't have much of a claim. They just didn't have a whole lot of claim to in the politics that run out here. You know, you'll see a lot of white dudes get themselves in trouble because they show up and it's, oh, I don't know what to do. And then they're like, oh, I'm a Crip. It's like, no, you wasn't. That wasn't me. I showed up and knew exactly what to do. It was like, hey, I put my flag on the table the day that I got there and was like, hey, here's me. I'm Turner from West Denver. You know what I mean? And so doing what I did, you're not going to get a whole lot of pushback from the whites, but you are going to get pushback from the black predators. The black predators come out the woodwork as soon as there's a white dude who's in. Because, okay, put it this way. I'm saying I'm from a Mexican gang. Well, that's great and everything, but you're in lower north. I'm by yourself. And your big homie's in East Unit, dog, and that's an island. They keep everything separated, these prisons separated, so you don't get to see people. So the homie's, he's way over there. So basically, I'm here by myself, right? And so the black dudes, they come out the woodwork. They press and fraud the exact same thing. They see where the tender spots are. You know what I mean? What they can take advantage of.
Let me ask you this, though. Is that in every race? Is there always, like, you know, different dudes in different gangs, different races, like, yo, I'm going to press this dude, man? I mean, are there predators in the federal prison system? There's predators in all shapes, sizes, races, black dudes, white dudes, Spanish dudes. I just had the dude on the other day where, you know, he's like, look, man, Stevie Bossom, white dude from Boston, like, you know, he victimized the dude. And, you know, there's creeps all over the place. So is it that way over there too, or no?
Absolutely. I'm talking more about the vulnerability of a single white.
Okay.
The vulnerability of a single white that doesn't have the whites backing them. And is in because with me stepping, just because I come in and I say I'm from this hood and I'm a white boy, but I'm gonna run with the Mexicans, that don't mean it's just over. It's not just signed, sealed, delivered, homie. There's gonna be checks that go along with that. You got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I assaulted the dude almost immediately. I got an assault charge in the mods, got kicked out of there, and within 45 days, took off on the black dude named Debo as soon as I got to the high side, right? The one that his name is Debo, his hood name is Debo, and he's running around the pod taking people's stuff. So this was...
What gang does he run with?
My understanding is now he's fruity. He's a fruity booty. That's my understanding now, is that he don't gangbang no more.
I'm talking about back then.
He was a blood.
So you got this blood dude that's going around just taking people's shit like, yo, this is what it is, man. And tell us what happens with you. You take off on him, you stab him, you swing on him, what happens?
Oh, so he had already taken a couple people's stuff, right? Now, I was good with this Avalon fool. I'm thinking 5 Deuce Avalon, a Crip fool. I was good with him from way back when. We used to do business on the streets, right? And we was in a county together, and we was really good. And we was in a county where we could politic together. We could chop it up. We were in a weird county, a weird white red county together where we could chill all day and nobody cared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got really good with this dude. Well, he happened to hear some white or some black business. They thought they were in good company, and they were talking about going in on me because they seen I got canteen last week, and they seen I was getting a sack every week. You know, maybe you get a sack on schedule. So, and he heard, and he pushed upon me and was like, "Hey, homie, I'm not gonna repeat this again, and I probably shouldn't even be telling you this. I get in trouble, homie, and I'll deny it if anybody asks me. But definitely gonna go in on you next on the list." And he just walked off, and that was it. We didn't have, you know what I mean? So now I'm stuck with, is he lying? Is he just trying to get me to take out one of his enemies? Maybe he's got a problem with this. You know what I mean? Now all these different things start running through my head. I came to the conclusion that he was probably telling the truth. You know what I mean? That whenever I weighed out all the options, I said, nah, he's probably telling the truth. That fool goes, his name is Debo. His hood name is Debo. So, I mean, you know what I mean?
Hey, let me tell you something. Every dude I ever met in prison that was named Debo was a big motherfucker, bro.
Yeah. So I took everything I owned, locked it up in my box, put my boots on, laced up, ran down there. Homie was at the poker table. I said, "Hey, homie," he turned around and I drilled him. Boom, and I stumbled him good. I didn't drop him, but I stumbled him like 4 or 5 steps back, caught himself, and he just got up and turned around and walked towards the thing. The cops came rushing in.
Hold up, man. I got to stop you because there's going to be comments, bro. People are like, come on, dude. You hit Debo and Debo didn't fight back?
Listen. This ain't the end of it. This is the whole story.
Okay.
So crack this fool. I ended up going to the hole for like 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, they decide to flood the tier for some reason. The segregation decides, fuck the police. We flood the tier. We're lighting shit on fire. It's not like you can light anything on fire anyway. I got a lighter, but it's not like it's going to burn anything down. We're just doing it just to cause mayhem, trying to throw stuff off the tier, light shit on fire, just being an asshole, right? So then they take me and they put me in a strip cell. I'm sure you've heard of that before. They put you,
of course.
No water. Just give you nothing but the hard mattress and your boxers, and then you got that for 24 hours. And after 24 hours, if you're good, they'll let you flush your toilet, you get a little bit of water, you brush your teeth, and they'll slide you like just a mattress by itself or something like that. And then you good, and they put you on the loaf, the management loaf, which is just pureed food, right? So they handed that, We go, I'm down there for 4 days maybe. I get all my stuff back. They give me another 20 days in the hole for the riot. For not riot, I forget what it was. Something stupid for lighting stuff on fire. But they didn't give me arson or nothing. It was just dumb. They gave me like 20 days. So now I've been in the hole for like 45 days. So these fools think that I took off on this dude and checked in. That's what they're thinking, because I've been gone this whole time. They let me right, as soon as my seg's up, I pop right back into population, right? So I'm walking down the thing, and then right away the black dudes, they start coming out, and I can see them pointing. They said, "That's him right there, that's him right there, that's him right there." And the homie Speedy come down, and I seen him. He walked around them fools, and he stood. You know how the bottles like this? You know what I mean? How they stand like that? Like, "What's up, fool?" And he walked right around them fools. He was like, "What's up, fool?" I was like, "What's good?" He's like, "Hit the yard." Like, bet. So a couple hours later, I go back to my unit. A couple hours later, I hit the yard. There's about 35 Chicano gangbangers from Oldies, from GKI, from Cheeky 30, from NSMs, from all over the place. I don't even know like half of them, homie. They're like, "What these black fools want to do, dog?" I don't know. We're going to find out. You know what I mean? About 10 black dudes show up to the yard. And they're like, they didn't think, they thought I was just some dumbass white boy, right? You know what I mean? And now they're looking like, what the fuck is this? There's like 5 hoods out here. You know what I mean? All grouped up together. Still comes to me, he says, "Hey, homie, let's spin a lap." Okay, cool. So we spin a lap. He said, "Man, I was just going to test your heart, homie. You didn't have to do all that, I was like, "So we good?" He was like, "Nah, we ain't good, homie. You done punched me in front of my face, in front of everybody, homie." He's like, we got to go get down. You know what I mean? So I met him up. I got my ass kicked. That was it. Squash.
Let me say this, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about a dude that you punch him in the face and he don't fight back on site right there? Because, dude, if you punch me in the face, I don't care if the warden's there, bro, or my grandmother's there. I'm punching you back.
But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and like the dude's not sitting here in front of us, dog. So I'm not going to like run my mouth about it. Those are his decisions. You know what I mean? I'm not going to like, oh, this was a bitch or something.
So we're not going to. So let's talk about this then. Let's not talk about him specifically. Have you ever seen dudes in prison get punched in the face and not fight back?
Oh well, yeah, it happens. It happens.
Okay. So a guy like that, usually, man, a dude gets hit in the face and don't fight back. Most of the time, 90% of the time, you're like, man, I mean, in the prisons that I've been to, you get punched in the face and you don't fight back, you're usually out of here. I've seen dudes get slapped in the law library. Jailhouse lawyers get slapped. I've seen one of the big homies for the Southsiders, Black Hand, Mexican Mafia. I've seen him slap one of his dudes in Big Sandy. And the dude was like, damn, big homie, what'd I do? Like, grabbed his face. I've seen the cop get slapped and not fight back. So, I mean, now dude wants to fight you, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you punch dude in the face and he don't really want to fight, but now he does want to fight you because his people seen and he has to fight you and he comes out on top. But do you feel like at the moment when you hit him in the mouth that you took his heart? Because that happens, bro. He said he wanted to check your heart. Dude, if you punch me in the face, bro, I'm punching you back.
Of course. But I just don't want to, you know what I mean? I'm not the type to run my mouth about, the next day we go fight and then it's squash. So what now, 10 years later, I'm going to be like, oh, this fool was a hoe. I'm not going to do that, dog. I'm not going to do that. I walked around the yard with him and we said it was good. I'm not going to come out here now and start running my mouth.
No doubt. It's all right.
That would be fake, right? That would be fake of me to do that, as far as I'm concerned. If I wasn't saying it to his face, what am I going to say it now for?
Listen, I respect your answer, homeboy. But let me tell you this.
Yeah.
In my perspective, man, I think you probably took the dude's heart when you punched him in the face. And I think he only fought because he had to. And he was bigger than you and he ends up winning and you keep it real and tell the truth. So ain't no problem with that, right? But anyway, let's move on. So after all that stuff happens, you squash that stuff with him. Let me ask you this. What's some of the most violent things you've seen in the Colorado prison system?
I seen him take a dude's patch. I seen him take a dude's swazi. That was nasty. They cut it off. And that's probably the most raunchy. Like, I've seen people die. People have died out here. But, like, as far as that, you know, whenever someone gets hit, it's usually just, they usually got their clothes on. You know what I mean? You don't got to see the wound. You know, maybe a little bit in the head or something like that. But this fool, it was missing, dog. Like, the whole muscle was missing. It was nasty. And he wasn't dead. He wasn't dead. Oh, no. I saw some fool. I saw this big-ass fool, big old white boy. And he kept messing with these little dudes. And as a matter of fact, you can find their cases if you want to. I don't know their names, but they cut a homeless dude's head off in like 2000 in Denver, dog. They were two young kids, young kids. And they cut this dude's head off in Denver, a homeless dude with a sword. And they ended up in a joint. But they was together. They was homies. They was both messed up, but they was homies. And this big-ass white fool kept messing with him. And they were little gutter punk kids, is what they're called, like little mall rats. They run around downtown and stuff. You know what I mean? So he kept messing with him, and one of them said something to him was like, "You just talking shit because you big," and he was like, "I'll whoop both. You could both come in the cell and I'll whoop." And they went in there with him, and he did. And they didn't want to take the loss, homie. They didn't want to take that loss. I don't know exactly what they boiled, but they hit him with a hot pot full of something. And that dude screamed and screamed and screamed, and they dragged him out of there, and he was screaming. And he had like this. It was purple. It looked like a birthmark all the way around where it had burned, and then it was a big V-neck. He had a V-neck on with no shirt underneath it. So,
taking a patch off, though, man, you know, a lot of the viewers might not know exactly what that means. That means that these dudes said, hey, man, check this out. You're a gang member. We're taking that tattoo off your body with a knife, with a razor, and it's vicious, man. It's vicious, vicious, vicious. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about 211, man. You ever run into any of them dudes over there? How were they? Were they respected in that prison system?
Oh, yeah. The 211's only problem is they're too damn vicious. You know what I mean? Like they could tone it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Nah, I think that me personally, okay, I want to clear up a couple things about 211. These are things that I know for a fact. 211 is not a white supremacist group. It's not a white supremacist group. There's some in there. There's a couple of them in there. 20, 30%, 40%. I know 211s that are Mexican. I know ones that have little black kids, little Mexican kids. This is not a white supremacist group. These are gangbanger white boys. These are like slim shady. They listen to rap music and sag their pants, hat to the side. That's what these dudes are. And the media, because the media can't get white supremacists out of their head, they just beat it into the ground. White supremacists, white supremacists, white supremacists. But they're not. They're just not.
Yeah.
Raymond Kane, who was one of my homies, this fool been in the box forever. I was in the box with him years ago in like 2006, 2007. We were in CSP together. He was the porter in the unit. He's one of the dudes that they shipped across the country. I think they shipped in Pennsylvania whenever they killed Tom Clements. This dude's been in the box forever, and he ain't got nothing to do with it. This dude's got nothing to do with it. He's been in the hole forever, and he's a Jew. He told me he's a Jew. They're not white supremacists.
Yeah.
They're not white supremacists. It's weird that they won't let it go. The media won't let it go, and they don't ever do their due diligence. But if you go to a 211 and just sit down, like if you just ask them, hey, it's a white boy car, right? They'll be like, yeah. But if you ask them about, in all seriousness, or these, they'll tell you, nah, most of them ain't. I got this sleeve actually on the weight of the 211s from the riot that I set off in 2006. The riot I was just telling you that I set off. Okay, so whenever I set that riot off, there was a 211 captain there. He seen what happened. He seen that we were outnumbered, and he seen that I went for it regardless. You know what I mean? So whenever I go to the hole, I'm in the hole for like 8 months, and I do an STG program for like 9 months. I'm in orange pants. They put you in orange pants so they can see you no matter where you go. And you got an STG program all day. So I hit the yard. 211 fool sees me. He said, that fool's a gangster. Whatever tattoos he wants, he gets. Whatever he wants. So I got a whole arm full of white boy stuff, right? Because they got white boy stock. You know what I mean? So pretty much my whole left arm, well, this is from Dump. That's from Dump for Bloods from 16 block. But the rest of it is all from 211, right? So I know a little bit about him.
Let's talk about this. You did about 14 years in the Colorado Department of Corrections, right?
No, I did 4 in juvenile.
Okay.
10 in the CDOC.
How long you been free for?
I got arrested March 13th of 2013, and they finally decided that maybe I needed some help, mental health problems. You know what I mean? It's mental health help. And they sent me to a behavioral modification program. It's one of the hardest in the country. It's called Pier 1. I did 4.5 years in it. I entered college. And so what? I got out of there 2017, late 2017. By 2019, I was completely off of paper. So I've been completely off of paper since 2019, and I graduate college in the fall.
What are you going to college for?
Technical writing and editing and interactive media production.
So you're on the straight and narrow now. You kind of put that stuff behind you, the gang stuff and the prison stuff and the burglarizing of homes and all that stuff's behind you now?
I'm done. I got bad knees. You know what I mean? I can't be what am I doing? Jump in the window, dog? I'm fat. I got bad knees. I be chilling now. I try to act these days. I just try to run around the hood and try to act as the hood documentarian and make different types of media and stuff like that. You know, I try to talk my people into going to college. I still haven't been able to get anybody to go to college with me yet, but I'm going to get somebody.
But you have turned your life around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for the birds, homie. Criminal shit is for the birds, dog. I lost so much of my life, it's gone. I like the prime years of my life, dog. You know what I mean? Whenever you could get busy with your girl like 5-6 times in the same day, that's all gone, dog. I lost all of that, right? I don't know what you know? And you lose a lot of the good. So my 21st birthday, all that's gone. I don't even like strip clubs because that whole area where you were supposed to get attuned to strip clubs, that was gone for me. So now I go in there, I'm like, get this bitch out of my face. I don't want to, you know what I mean? What are we doing? What are we doing? Wasting time and money?
How old are you now?
39.
Now you had to think about how old you were? I do too once in a while.
Yeah. Every day when I wake up, my knees hurt.
So let me ask you this, right? When you were in prison, man, what was one thing that what is something that really hurt you, man, when you were in prison, man? Something that hurt you. It could be a family member dying, Christmas morning waking up, man, and no one to call, going to bed hungry.
Christmas was a big one. I would say holding people more than anything, holding a woman, dog. That's what really bothered me. I would, kind of like take my jacket or something, the jacket they give you, kind of wrap it around a pillow or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I was used to it for so long. I was used to holding somebody, you know?
So, whenever they do the count, did you just walk in and like, hey, there's my pillow, or just that night?
Oh, no, it was like I would keep her in the corner. You know what I mean?
You weren't like Tom Hanks, like, hey, Wilson!
That's mostly in solitary. This is just the weird stuff you end up doing in solitary to try to cope with it, you know?
No, I ask you that, when we smile, but, there's reasons why I ask you that. Because I want, the youngsters and those that have gotten out of prison, I don't want them to ever forget that, man. Those are the things that I want people to remember. Because if you remember that, that might make you put on your work boots instead of your street boots. You understand what I'm saying?
You want to know what's horrible about prison? Is that I did 4 years of solitary confinement, and I have like 5 memories in 4 years. It steals your memories because every day is the same thing. It's pacing back and forth in your boots because you don't want to walk in your socks even though you're in the cell because your feet will dry out and crack. You get away with it for a little while. You put 2 pairs on, but they won't give you lotion. At the time, they wouldn't give you lotion. I think they kind of do now. So you walk back and forth in the cell, and every day is the same, and it's the same 4 walls. And so you lose time. So I got this chunk of time where I can remember crying because Brett Favre threw for like 400 yards on the Sunday after his father died, right? That teared me up. I can remember, and I was eating an ice cream sandwich because they would give you ice cream sandwich on Sunday, and you put it in the coffee. And they let it float in the coffee, kind of like creamer, because you couldn't get no creamer in the hole. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
But a good haircut. I remember getting a really good haircut. I remember the white dude that was always trying to recruit me. He didn't want to hear my Mexican gang shit at all. He had a bunch of like white literature about some Norse kings that had lived like 1,000 years ago, and it was like his Bible. So he would slide. He kept trying to push that on me. This is like a 4-year period. You got a couple memories, so that chunk is just gone. And this, like I said, it was the prime of my life. It's gone.
I tell people all the time, man. I spent 18 years in prison straight, right? 17 years, 5 months, and 21 days. And I tell people, man, in the world, you had different experiences every day. I had the same experience every day for 17 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that cool shit about prison goes out the window pretty quick, right?
Prison is a waste of your life. There's no other way it just puts you on pause. It's like putting pause on the video game, and the rest of the world just keeps going. And then you get out and you try to unpause your video game, and you know what I mean? But the world's gone. The world's gone, and anybody that you did matter to has moved on. You know what I mean? Even if they were there for you, they still, by nature of the world, had to move on. And so they're going to be different. The whole world's going to be different.
So let me say this, right, before we close. I know you got a YouTube channel. You're going to college. You turned your life around. You've been free for a while. Plug your YouTube channel so people can go check you out.
My YouTube channel is Gangish Oyster Sauce. And on TikTok, it's Oyster Sauce 123. I be dancing and jamming a lot on TikTok. If you like to jam, I be in the hood, just taking little videos in the hood. And Oyster Sauce, Gangish Oyster Sauce is my YouTube channel. And I don't know where it's going to go. The only the only prerequisite for the channel is that whoever I'm interviewing's been through the struggle. That's literally it.
That's a hell of a name, man. Oyster Sauce and Gangish. Tell us what it means.
It really means almost nothing.
Okay.
It means that Big Perm was already taken because there's a dude who sells shoes named Big Perm, and there's a dude who sells, I believe, rims on YouTube named Big Perm. So my name was taken, for one thing. Rocky Mountain oyster sauce is a sauce that we used to make for Rocky Mountain oysters at a restaurant that I worked at. So I started a company called Adapted Multimedia, and after like the 18th time of people kept asking me what the name of my company was, I had to change it because everybody knew exactly what Rocky Mountain oyster sauce was. Nobody knew what Adapted Multimedia was. They just kept asking me, well, Rocky Mountain oyster sauce, everybody hears it, they go, ha, that's funny, and they remember. And so it was so much different than everybody else. So I started a YouTube channel called Rocky Mountain Oyster Sauce that is just about war, geopolitics, geostrategy. It's about other things, philosophy, geopolitics, mostly about geopolitics. I started that channel, and I got a couple months into it, and I realized I have a trove of information about gang stuff, and I'm not using it. Like, I can just turn on the camera and talk.
Yeah. And
the stories are there, so I'm not tapping a resource that I want to use, is how I felt. So I started this one, Gangish. The word Gangish is like, you know how they say Blackish, that show Blackish, like they're kind of black? Well, I'm kind of gangish, homie. I got bad knees now. What do you want? I'm an old man. But I'm still in the hood. I'll be in there.
Hey, listen, man, it's all good. I kind of like you a little bit, bro. You made me laugh a little bit. I still see that in you when I tried to press you on the Debo stuff. And you're like, yo, look, bro. What? So you still got that tough guy shit in you, which, hey, we're gentlemen now, man. We were gangsters once upon a time, but, if you have to be that dude, you can be that dude, but it's better to be a gentleman than a gangster, right?
Oh, clearly. Respect, you know what I mean? Respect lasts forever. If you think about the people in this world that you respect the most, it's a consequence. It's not people run around beating people up. The people you really respect the most are people that you have seen shoulder massive amounts of responsibility and not complain about it and push through life. These are the people we respect. If we, think about it.
No doubt. I think you're 100% right. But look, before we go, man, what message do you have to give to the people, man? Might be a youngster, might be your younger self, might be a dude that just got out of prison and he's struggling. What message would you give them people?
If you just got out of prison, go to college, son. There's so much money. Going to college will not give you enough money to make you rich or anything like that, but it will give you enough money to take the weight of the world off your back, okay? And be able to maneuver and say, okay, I don't have to run the rat race. I can relax for a second and think about what I'm doing. That is what college will allow you to do, and it is really, really valuable to be able to take time and just slow down, because you can get out of prison and jump right into work if you want, but all those antisocial problems are not going to go away just because you went to work. You're going to have to work through those.
No doubt.
So you're going to have to deal with it. You can deal with them in 6 months whenever you flash on your girlfriend and your kids or whatever, or you're going to have to deal with that stuff. There's no way around it. You're going to have to deal with it. People are going to touch your stuff. Your kids are going to be in your stuff, messing around with your stuff. And you're going to have to, you can't flash, dog.
Yeah. I mean, hey, keep going.
If you're going to prison, this is all I'm going to say. I don't know why anybody makes it complicated. If you're going to prison and there's no way around going to prison, it's very easy to make it through prison. Whatever people you line up with, black, white, Mexican, whatever, show up, go to the shot caller and say, I don't want no goddamn problems. I'm going to be on the weight pile working out. Whatever you guys need me, give me my list of rules, and whatever you guys need me, I'll be here. Other than that, I don't want zero problems. And they'll respect it. That's all you have to do when you go to prison. Just say, when my ticket's up, let me know. And work it. Don't make them tell you to work out. Get your ass out there. That's it. That's all you got to do in prison, dog. I got no holes in me. I got no stab wounds. I've been beat up a couple times. That's it, dog. That's the worst I ever got. That's my advice if you're absolutely going to prison.
Well, listen, man, I'm going to tell people to go check out your channel. We'll put it in the link, in the comments. Look, man, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing your story, your experiences. And you know what, man? I think you are an intelligent dude, and I appreciate you, man. I'm going to tell people, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.